Deep in the forest, the roar of chainsaws shatters the silence. Powerful machines bring down towering trees, while trucks brave treacherous terrain, hauling massive logs out of the wild. This is the battle between man and nature, where courage and technology unite to conquer the depths of the forest. Join us on this journey. In the heart of the forest, a man with a chainsaw faces off against a massive tree. The saw roars and the trunk begins to tremble. He quickly runs to safety, and the giant tree slowly falls. As it hits the ground, the whole group cheers in excitement, like they've just scored a big win. A moment full of tension and a bit of humor. Oh my God, so lucky. The man strained as he drove the loaded truck, hauling an extra heavy log crate behind him. The bumpy road made it tough, and after just a few meters, crash. He could only sigh. This job isn't for everyone. Slippery roads are always a nightmare for timber drivers. A tow truck follows closely behind, ready to assist if the truck struggles up the hill. Let's wait and see what happens. Despite some difficulty, the truck has successfully conquered this super slippery hill. Let's give him a round of applause. A tense situation. This load seems too heavy for the small tow truck. Even though it's tilted and scraping against the road's guardrail, the truck continues to slide downward. He's incredibly worried about his vehicle. Tipping over on a slope is incredibly dangerous, but luckily the truck has come to a stop. However, it looks like its engine is severely damaged and won't be able to continue. Deep in the forest, the loaded truck roared, battling a steep, slippery road. The driver used all his skills to get through the treacherous mud pits. But then, one wheel sank deep into the mud. The team held their breath. And luckily, with a bit of magic, the truck slowly pulled free, leaving an impressive tire mark and a relieved smile on the driver's face. This is exactly what you'd call a narrow escape. Amidst the muddy swamp, the massive John Deere sat stubbornly stuck, showing no signs of budging. A bulldozer arrived, growling as it tried to pull it out. But no luck! Then, an excavator rolled in like the rescue hero, hooking its bucket onto the John Deere. After several tense pulls with everyone watching and holding their breath, finally, the John Deere was pulled safely onto solid ground. A dramatic rescue, equal parts thrilling and just a bit funny. A massive tow truck was blocking the road, awkwardly trying to back up in hopes of escaping a tough spot. But then, crash. The truck suddenly tipped over and lay sprawled across the road as if to say, "All right, I'm done here." In the dense, shadowy forest, the mighty timberjack trudges through the mud, slowly loading heavy logs onto its bed. The slippery path makes it sway, as if dancing with the muck, but giving up is not an option. Once the truck is packed to the brim, the timberjack roars back to life, struggling through the mud once more to deliver its precious cargo to the mill. Watching it wrestle with the mud, you can't help but chuckle and think, this hero of the forest is a bit clumsy, but it gets the job done. In the depths of the forest, a guy swings his axe hard at the cut on the ancient tree. The tree starts to wobble, and he dashes off just in time. Before he can catch his breath, the tree crashes down behind him with a loud thud. A heart-pounding escape with a touch of humor. High up in the tree, the guy saws through the top with his chainsaw. Snap, the tree breaks. But instead of falling, the top gets caught on another branch, hanging midair. A suspenseful and unexpected twist. He probably didn't expect to create such a heart-pounding, floating scene. Cutting large tree stumps is always a big challenge for lumberjacks. It's never easy, and they constantly face danger. However, it's a risk they must take if they want to stay in this line of work. Every time a tree falls, it's probably another heart-stopping moment. This guy managed to saw halfway through the massive tree stump, but it was so big he had to risk it by squeezing into the gap he'd cut to keep sawing. After finishing, he moved to the opposite side to complete the job. And then, boom! The tree stump finally crashed down. A tense, daring tree-cutting scene that only he would have the guts to attempt. This tree stump looks pretty rotten, and the lumberjack has to keep scraping away chunks of decay, sawing and clearing, as if battling a stubborn opponent. Finally, after all that effort, thud! The stump crashes down right in front of him, a scene full of persistence and suspense to the very end. Definitely not for the faint of heart. A slightly clumsy lumberjack is trying to cut down a big tree stump in the forest, but the cut section just won't fall. So, he grabs a hammer and starts banging on it, almost as if he's trying to convince the tree to come down. Finally, he finishes the cut and quickly dashes away to avoid a close call with the falling tree. A scene that's both suspenseful and hilarious. Definitely one you don't want to miss. A big rig is stuck deep in a muddy pit, wheels spinning but going nowhere. The driver tries hitting the gas, but the truck only sinks further. After a tense moment, he decides to try reversing. And luckily, the truck finally breaks free. A heart-pounding escape and a great reminder that this determined driver doesn't give up easily. The truck is struggling with a heavy load of wood, and at times the front end lifts because the wood is stuck. After several attempts, the driver finally manages to bring the wood to the drop-off point. A dramatic moment with a touch of humor, as if the truck and the wood were wrestling each other. Instead of climbing the tree, this guy chose to use a crane to lift himself up and then start cutting the tree. The lifting rope makes him swing back and forth, which is really dangerous. Is this really the best way? This lumberjack is hanging from a big branch, sawing it down with every dangerous cut. Luckily, the branch is finally brought down safely. A risky and thrilling move, but also pretty reckless. These people are struggling to load logs onto the motorbike, which has been fitted with 2 horizontal bars to carry more wood. Balancing the logs on both sides to make driving easier is no small task. One person is driving while a few others walk alongside to help support the bike, probably praying the bike doesn't tip over on the bumpy, steep roads. It's a scene that's both tense and humorous, as if they're taking part in a quirky race with logs and motorbikes. The road for transporting wood is full of challenges, with steep hills and bumpy rocks. These drivers must have incredibly skilled handling to navigate through these roads, a job that not everyone can do. The log-hauling tractor is struggling to rescue a heavily loaded truck stuck deep in the mud. The truck is so heavy that each time the tractor pulls, its front lifts up, almost standing on 2 legs in the middle of the road. Smoke billows. Tension is high. And then, after countless efforts, the truck finally begins to inch forward and breaks free of the mud in a cheer-worthy moment. A thrilling rescue, heart-pounding yet with a dash of humor, like a scene straight out of an action movie. A heavily loaded truck, greedily hauling an extra trailer full of wood, is about to cross a sizable stream. Will it be able to make it across? That's amazing. This driver really seems to have some talent. The loaded truck is approaching an extremely sharp turn. Its wheels sink into the mud, but luckily, it doesn't get stuck. The driver keeps reversing and inching forward to adjust the angle, carefully maneuvering through this tricky bend. A man is guiding him from a distance, making for a nail-biting coordination effort. Finally, after several tries, the truck successfully navigates the turn. This obstacle course moment is definitely not for the faint-hearted. And here comes another tough turn. This time, it's not only sharp, but also incredibly steep and slippery, yet it doesn't seem to faze the driver. The truck makes its way over the slick mud, skillfully moving forward and back to adjust the angle. Even more impressively, the driver has to lean his head out of the cab for a better view. After a series of careful maneuvers, the truck finally conquers this challenging turn. A truly nerve-wracking but masterful display of driving skill. Next up is the third turn. It looks like the driver is getting pretty tired of this road with all its steep hills and sharp turns. But despite the struggle, he confidently handles each turn with impressive skill. A big shout out to him. Truly amazing. It's like watching an artist perform behind the wheel. John Deere 1270G. The amazing logging machine that's so powerful, it makes every tree tremble in fear. With its strong hydraulic system and precise control, the 1270G isn't just a reliable teammate, it's a true warrior on rough, uneven terrain. The best part? It conquers every landscape, helping workers get the job done efficiently while avoiding those tricky situations. Yes, it's the perfect combination of cutting-edge technology and incredible strength. What could be better than having a machine like this in your team? This is no longer just about cutting down a tree stump. It's become an art form. Not everyone can do this. It's truly a visual masterpiece. Here he is, our fearless mechanic. Climbing up the tree like a ninja, he pulls out his saw and swoosh, the top of the tree snaps and crashes down. But that's not all. The branch is shaking wildly, yet he's holding on tight. He moves on to the second branch. More shaking, but he's still going strong. Finally, he finishes the cut, sliding down like a hero. And here he is, our brave guy, dangling at the top of a tree with a chainsaw in hand, and below him, a sheer drop into the abyss. Undaunted, he starts cutting the top of the tree, then switches to a hammer. Yes, a hammer to knock down the tree, and bam! The top comes crashing down, revealing a breathtaking view of clouds in the distance. But he's not stopping there. Moving on to the second branch, he saws while gazing down at the clouds drifting below him. Truly a stunning scene, and a job that's not for the faint of heart. And here it is, the giant tree trunk coming down. The wind howls, branches crash, and boom! The tree plunges into the river, spraying water everywhere. What an epic tree fall! Welcome to the impressive timber factory, where the real action happens. Tons of wood are being gathered from all corners, and the heavy-duty cranes are working non-stop, lifting these massive logs like they're no more than a twig. The first step? The bark gets peeled off. It's almost like the wood is shedding its winter coat and getting ready for a fresh start. Next, the logs are expertly sliced into smaller planks, each piece perfectly cut and ready for the next stage. These planks are then stacked into neat, orderly blocks, as if they were preparing for a perfectly choreographed dance. And then, the trucks roll out one by one, loaded with freshly processed wood, ready to take on their next big journey. Who knew a timber factory could look like a high-stakes woodworking competition? Honestly, this is a woodworker's dream, and an action-packed performance all in one. Thank you for watching the entire video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and continue exploring the world of forestry. Now, goodbye and see you next time.